I will also be checking the chats just in case they are. Oh yeah, thank you. So that's exactly what I said. We are going to be looking at database, starting with MongoDB. Then I would also touch on Postgres. We already have a MongoDB video in the academy, so do well to check it out. So yeah, let's click on Mongo Shell. This is Mongo Shell. So for you, all you have to do is use the command here. For Windows users, of course, you have to download it, right? You have to download the exe file, which is the executable. So you can go ahead, download and basically install, right? Um, yeah. So let's see MongoDB Download Center. So let's go to MongoDB Download Center. Okay, so this takes us to the download page. This is the MongoDB shell. So Windows users, you have to just click here and select Windows. Where is Windows? Yeah, Windows right here. Then you click on download, right? So for Windows users, this is what you have to do. Once it's done, you double click and follow the prompts till you install. And then, for Apple or Linux users, you can find your option here. If you use Ubuntu, you go with Debian, right? If you use Ubuntu. If you are not using Ubuntu and you're using some other Linux distribution, you can basically get it from here. And then for those using Apple Silicon, you can also get yours from here. So you see we have x64, we have M1. Okay, so my assumption is we are going with the M1 11 plus. So yes, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, so go ahead and why do we just have zip? Why don't we have any other? Okay, so we'll go ahead and download the zip. I usually prefer to go. I usually prefer to use the terminal option anyway. So this is the terminal. Let's go ahead, copy this and install. And by the way, I was talking about Claude. This is Claude. I use Claude um, almost all the time. I hardly use ChatGPT. ChatGPT is great, right? But Claude is better for, I would say, for coding and programming generally. I mean, I love it. So it has given me some of the best experience so far. Claude or Gemini, but mostly Claude. Sometimes Perplexity, but I prefer to use Claude. Okay, so yeah, so Claude download. You can just check out their website, Anthropic. I need to drop the volume a bit. Okay, sorry if that is too loud. Okay, so I just have to copy this and install. Next, I have to confirm if it was installed. So let's do that to Mongo Shell version. So this has been installed, meaning I can just say Mongo Shell and it will take me into straight into the shell. So yeah, it says there's an error. It can't find this Mongo network error, connection refused. Okay, so that's pretty much interesting. I think I might have to download MongoDB itself. It's not on this machine. That's MongoDB community, I believe. Let's use this place as well. So install MongoDB community on Mac. I would say on M3. Yeah, so I'm putting the M series specifically because it might give you the option for Intel-based Mac, which will not work. So if you use an Intel-based Mac, you don't use M3, just say MongoDB community. So it will most likely give you the one for, okay, yeah, so this is it. I have to make sure that I've tapped this first, then copy this. Okay, so I'm currently installing. Now, in your own case, you have to install, that is Compass. Let's look for a MongoDB community itself. Okay, so can't find that here. Let me go back to the top. Let's see, this is the GUI. Okay, so let's just say MongoDB download for Windows. So it takes us to this page, right? It's automatically detected I'm using a Mac. I believe that's why we can see this anyways. But yeah, I can just change this from Mac to Windows. It has the MSI option, so you can download the MSI package. Once this is downloaded, about 757 MB. Once this is downloaded, you can proceed to install. I don't know how many minutes this would take since I'm seeing 700 MB already for Windows. Anyways, let's see. So I think that it's installing. Interestingly, I think it's done. Yeah, let's just make sure that the service is started, and I'll simply say Mongo Shell again. Let's see if this connects successfully without bounce. Oh yeah, it does connect successfully. Okay, so quite interesting. I'm just going to list out MongoDB commands. We're going to play around with the commands, prod commands. Um, okay, etc. Yeah, just basic fundamental commands, including prod operation command. So when I say prod, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Create, read, update, delete command. So the basic commands. Now there's already a video explaining this. So even after the session, you can just go back to the Academy, click on that video. I think it's about 8 videos. Yeah, it explains all these commands that I'm trying to get here. So I just want to put this together. I'll share this with you as a PDF, more like a cheat sheet kind of. um, so you see we have different commands here, also showing us how we can use these commands, right? So this is what we're going to be using for this session. So let me go ahead and create a README file here. I'll just create a README .md. So inside the README file, I'm going to throw in everything I have here. So, we can actually have it rendered on the in VS Code while I show you the examples, right? So yeah, I think this is pretty much done. So let me go ahead and copy, save, and open it up on the side here. Okay, this is not well formatted. Any reason for that? We just have like a bunch of things here. So many, so many, so many, so many. Okay, so this is not well formatted. So I think I would have just specified I wanted a markdown. Okay, well, anyways, that is fine. I'll simply take it up from here. And let's open the main.py file. Let's open this on the side. So say split right, correct? Okay, and throw this out here. All right, so this is our Python file. For some of the commands, we'll start off by running them in the shell, right? Until we get to use it in Python, I'll show you how to use it in Python as well. So I'll try to be fast here. Seems like this time is totally wrong. So let me quit some of this to avoid distractions. Okay, all right. So now that we've installed MongoDB, or maybe before I jump into that, let's quickly pull up CaliDraw. Yesterday I mentioned that MongoDB is we call it a document DB, documents DB, which is non-relational, right? So thing about non-relational, I'm just going to show like a structure that you would use to understand this better. So we have tables for relational. So I'm going to structure this way. We have relational database. Okay, relational databases, work with tables. We're talking about Postgres, right? We're talking about MySQL. We're talking about SQL Server from Microsoft. We're talking about Postgres, right? And many more, right? We have others. We have SQLite, if you've heard of SQLite before. SQLite, yeah, there are so many, databases variations out there, just for relational and also for non-relational. It has its own um, set of types. Should I say types, or maybe I'll just say flavors? Okay, so we have MySQL. We have we have document DB itself. Document DB. There's a database called document DB actually. Yeah, I think there's one popular one I enjoy using on Amazon, right? It's called so that one is called AWS DynamoDB. It's nice, awesome, super fast as well. If you're an AWS person, most definitely I expect that you should have tried DynamoDB. Okay. Yeah. So amongst others, these are some of the ones we have here. On in relational databases, we save or we store our records in tables, right? We store our record in tables, and this record are made up of a lot of rows. Okay. Rows are basically um, like records. Do you understand? So a row is a record. Okay, you can have 100 records, a thousand records, 100,000 records. A row is one record. So if we have record of users, Mav's record is a row basically. Okay, these tables are made up of columns, right? Okay, your tables are made up of columns. So for example, let's assume we are saving user records. A user record the user record would have like first name, right? First name. Let me use this pattern. Last name, maybe date of birth, EOB, maybe the date it was created, the date the record was updated. If there's an update, so I'll just say updated. Yeah, you can have other records. You can have age. Date of birth already gives us age anyways. You can have country. You can have bio, right? Social handles or something. So yeah, so a user record can contain most of these things. Sometimes we tend to separate user records from authentication, but if you want to add like username or something, password, hash, that kind of thing, you can add these records will be put in a table, and the table would have different types of relationships with other tables if there's a relationship. It would have types. Each column has types. So this would have like Barker, right? Or maybe if you're using Postgres, then you probably want to just use text. This will have text type. Date of birth, maybe yeah, you just want to use text as well, or you really want to use like date time. If you want to store both the date and the time, some people would I think daytime is fine, if you ask me. Yeah, daytime is fine. Country, of course, that's text, bio text. So if you started off with MySQL or SQL Server, then you have heard about the options where you specify the number of characters that go in there using varchar. So you do varchar, you put in the amount, like maybe 30 characters. Okay. But yeah, text actually works for Postgres. Maybe you also have like gender. Okay, so gender, you probably want to put like male or female. You can just put your varchar, and then you have like one M or F, right? Yeah, but text can also work for this. Social handle, we can actually have text. Postgres supports JSON objects like JSON B. But yeah, we can also just use text to handle this. Maybe we just want a single social handle like LinkedIn or Twitter. Created ads, so this will be timestamps. I think timestamps should work for this. Timestamps, stamps. Okay, so these are like this in your code. You have to use what we call ORMs. I mean, it's not compulsory, but yeah, it makes sense to have. So you don't have to write raw SQL commands, right? So ORM is good. ORM stands for let's see, object relational mapper. Okay, so object relational mapper. So yes, ORM pretty much makes a lot of sense. And this is for relational DBs. This is what it looks like. I mentioned that you have your table, you have the rows, and you have columns, and then within those columns you have like the type. These are the data type. Okay, and you can also have what you call constraints. So let's assume every record has an ID, and the ID is good. Let's put phone number as well and email, for example. So phone number. Why am I putting this? I want to show phone number, email. Okay, so this can also be a text. This can be a text. So I want to show us something here. If the data type is text here, we can say, oh, there are some things that should be compulsory, right? For example, phone number, an email. So we can set constraints. Constraints here will be not null, meaning it should never be null. These some of them here will be not null. So this will be not null. Name, last name, wants to be compulsory. Date of birth compulsory. Country compulsory, bio maybe optional, gender compulsory, social handles optional. These two would be compulsory. So updated art and created art to be compulsory. And we can also you can have multiple constraints, attached to a particular field or a particular column here. So I can use a column. I can use something like maybe now. So now we're simply going to update this. When it's altered, it's updated automatically, right? Yeah, because I already have like time. For this ID, I can actually use UUID before. This would generate the ID automatically with what we call UUID, right? A UUID looks like this. So a UUID string looks like this. We have seen this before. In Python, I think we have a package for that. So if I go to PyPy UUID, we can generate. We love to use UUIDs for generating, unique strings, right? It makes sense. Um, when you are building your project, but you can also work with serial. Serial gives you like the automatic 1, 2, 3, 4 numbering like that. In Postgres. So let's just have I created? Yeah, I think I did. Code Python class. Okay. All right. I think one thing I'll just do here is to say Python. Okay, I'm using Python 3. I think I should create a alias for that. VMV. Let's just create the virtual environment. Yeah. So let me come back here real quick. Okay. So is that done? I was in the wrong place. Okay, I see. Python class. Let me start by taking that off. Sudo rm VMV. Okay. cd Python class. Python. All right, so let's create that here. I created it in the wrong place. So I'll just say source VMV in activate, right? So what do we get? We get an error. Why are we using fish? Okay, we're using fish. All right, so now we have activated this. I can proceed to just say PIP. I think I copied the whole thing. Let's paste it directly. So yeah, this is going to install UUID. And I think if I remember correctly, um, we just have to say import UID. Let's just see if I do print UID v4. By the way, this is how you would most likely do this in most languages, but you have to make sure you're following the right command because I am not sure about the v4 part here. That's how we do it in Python, anyways. I don't think it's the same thing for this. Let me make sure that my fish is also activated here, and I can just run Python 3 main.py. So yes, exactly, an error. Okay, so I think maybe this should be together. UID before, but I'm going to confirm that from here. So how do you do that? You can just check out their documentation real quick. Let's see, where do they have their documentation homepage? Is that it? Interesting. UID Python docs. All right, so let's click on this. Okay, so just scroll down, you'd see the example. So we have UID 1, I think it's together, just like I mentioned before. So you have UID 4. There are different versions anyways, but what we are using as of today is UID 4. So I can just say UID 4 Python example, UID 4. I'm pretty sure that is how it would yes, okay, UUID.UUID4. Okay, pretty much. Yeah, so let's go ahead and paste this here. And let's run this now. So you see we have a UUID code. I can see we have a question there. So please, what programming language should we practice on? And Python, pretty much Python. Yeah, use Python, use Python. Use Python till you are very comfortable, then you can switch to something else. But Python is good. Python works for most of the things you'll be doing. Most of my workshops will be with Python or JavaScript or TypeScript, but I think it depends on what is Like for example, this is a Python AI class, so we are going to be using Python most of the time. These days I do a lot of TypeScript and Go, but yeah, Python is what we'll be using. And please don't try to cram syntax. You know, I think as you get to explore so many other areas, it's normal for you to forget syntax. Just know what to do. Syntax is not a problem. All right, so I just wanted to show you what UUID is because I get that question a lot when I'm explaining, some of the types. UUID is mostly like best practice. If you open some websites, um, when they are taking you to like a slash ID kind of thing, you see, this is lang chain. You see what they are using here, right? This is a UUID. Okay, if you check some websites, you will notice that. That is what they tend to use most of the time. Yeah, we have another example here. Can you see them? So when you're working on items like this, you most likely want to use UUID. If you need to, it's not compulsory. You can simply stick to serial. Serial would give you the automated numbering 1, 2, 3. Because if you put like text here, it means maybe you want to generate IDs yourself, which you can also do. But having the database do that automatically for us is usually one of the best options that we adopt. Okay, and of course, this by default is not null. ID, can never be null. So what we just tend to do is to set it as a primary key. When we explore Postgres very well in the next class, we'll dive into talking about primary keys, foreign key. We'll talk about relationship. Setting up even things like composite key, where you have, multiple things that comes together to give you like that primary key. Ideally, email should be unique, which means you shouldn't have two records in your DB with the same email. Same goes to phone number, right? Email and phone number should be unique in our databases. This is what your relational DB looks like. When it comes to the non-relational DB like MongoDB, we use the object document mapper, which is also known as ODM for short, right? This is ORM. So you use ODM for your mapping. ODM is the term, right? Basically, if you are using a MongoDB, then in JavaScript, you probably want to leverage Mongoose as a library to make things easier for you. In Python, you leverage PyMongo, right? So you don't have to write like actual Mongo commands. You just use what the abstractions that the library gives you. It makes things faster. It makes things easier for you. Okay. Yeah. So that is what I want to mention. Okay. And what your record would look like. It looks like JSON objects, right? But yeah, let me go ahead and say your user record here would then look like this. Since this is my ID, I can simply turn this into a JSON, but let's do this manually. So yeah, we'll have the ID and then you'll have the value. The value comes in here. This time around is going to be like a default uh, MongoDB object ID. They have an object ID that is automatically generated, for you, so you don't have to, create an ID yourself. And then you have your phone number. Can I just copy those guys? Okay, so something more like this, but of course you won't be having all these constraint things and these ones. We are going to have pretty much something like this. Okay. So with something like Mongoose, you can set to say something is unique, like your email, right? You have to do that on your application layer. By the way, don't forget to add your comma, separations here. Okay. Right. This is what's to change. Okay, so by default, you don't even need to add this. By default, MongoDB would create this for you. So yeah, this is what it looks like, right? And so instead of having tables, you have collections. So you have collections, and instead of having rows, you have documents, and instead of having columns, basically you have a fields, right? As I would describe them. So you have a collection. A collection can be like this. This would be called the user collection. In this place, you have this as the user table, right? And here you have the user collection, not table. Okay. and then your collection looks like this, and this is one record in your collection. So, right, you can have multiple records in here. Okay, so you can keep having multiple documents. I mean, here it's called rows, and here you have, your documents, or I call them records as well, anyways. So here you have your documents, and this, for example, is a document. Okay, and then inside of this document, you have, respective fields, and everything put together gives you the collection. So you want to query this collection, you probably want to say, oh, the user collection dot, find if you want to search for. Well, anyways, we'll look at those examples right away. So yes, this is kind of like, how we tend to look at it. You have tables, you have rows, you have columns, and here you have collection, you have documents, you have fields. Do you have any questions before I continue? Any questions? Do you need clarity whatsoever before I continue? Please let me know. While you're letting me know, I'll proceed to download a GUI tool. There's a GUI tool called, MongoDB Compass. MongoDB Compass. So let's go ahead and download before we even jump into exploring those commands. This is already interesting. All right, so this is a MongoDB Compass GUI, Apple Silicon download. So this is giving me a DMG file. While that is downloading, let's just start exploring the commands, okay? So the first command we have there, show DBs. By the way, guys, look at the terminal here. I'm going to zoom in again. Let me zoom in like this, and I would just do this as well. Okay. Let me throw this in here. This is, I'm supposed to be able to just merge this. Interesting. I think I have to turn on some additional settings on this laptop. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so let me just go ahead like this. The first command we have there is show DBs. What show DBs is going to do is it's going to show you the databases you have, right? For now, I don't have any database. I just, installed this. I just have the default local config and admin DB. We can't, edit or change these ones because, we have some configuration stored in there. So in order to create a database, what do you do? Do you have to say, create DB? No, you don't necessarily have to. You just have to use the DB, the name of the DB, and automatically, once you insert the first record in that DB, it is created, right? So let's assume we want to create a DB for books, right? So I'll just say use, books, for example. If I say use books, you see we have switched to DB books, right? Automatically in DB books. And yeah, I mean, I can proceed to once I say DB, it shows me the current DB that I'm using. And if I say db.drop DB, it's simply going to drop that DB. It has dropped that DB. For now, it still shows books because we haven't actually committed this, right? So if I say show DBs, you see books is not there yet, right? It's just showing that we're currently using it. Okay. If I say show collections would show me the collections that we have inside of books. We don't have any collection yet. That is why it is empty, right? Let me go ahead and let me just yeah, let me go ahead and exit this. I would go back in there again just to show you that that DB is not existing. So if I say show DBs, you see that books is not existing. So let's do that again. I'm going to call this books DB instead. That's the database. And then inside of books DB, I'm going to create books, right? So if I say db.create collection, when I press tab twice on my keyboard, it shows me some command I can use, right? So if I say dot create collection, if I proceed to put in the name of the collection like books, just like this, it's just saying, okay, you have created that. If I say show collections, it shows books. So I now have like a books collection inside of books DB. Okay, so I can proceed to drop that collection with this command, db.users, db. This time around it will be books, right? So db.books.drop. Okay, so if I say db.books.drop, automatically I have to put in this. It says true. So if I say show DB, show collections, we no longer have books. Let's go ahead and create books again, and we'll start. Okay, we also have like stats. This shows like detail of that particular collection. Statistics. That's what stats mean. So this is where we can now start performing the operations like putting in a record, fetching a record, deleting a record, stuff like that. I'm going to switch from books to users, so I don't have to manually enter like records. We'll just copy this as our example. What you're seeing here on this screen, let me zoom in on this so it's clearer. Close this. Okay. All right. So what you're seeing here is we're basically inserting a record using insert one. Let me start by just taking this off, right? So I'll drop books and I'll simply go ahead to create users, right? Okay, so now that we have show collections, give us users. So we have created the collection user. If we say db.users.insert one, we are inserting one record, right? If we say .insert many, then we can insert multiple records. You see the way the records are separated by comma, right? This is looking like your JSON, and then you have comma. So right here, this is inserting three records. If we go ahead and insert one record with this, insert one, this record has been acknowledged. So if I say db.users find, this will give me all the records, right? When I say find, I can also say find one, find, basically find will give you all the things it can see about that record. I can also find with specific parameter like ID, name, age, things like that. All right. The same way you do select statements with where clause in, relational DBs. Here you just have to say find and you put in the key. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and do insert many. This would insert additional three records, right? So you see 0, 1, 2. We have three records here. And if I say, oh yeah, this what happened. Let's just go into Mongosh again. First thing, reset Mongosh. Okay. So if I say use books DB, right? I say show collections. I have users there. If I say db.users.find, just like this. So now I have four records here, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Okay. So this is how you query, just like I mentioned, you have, the single find option that we just use. You can use find pretty. Find pretty will just, make sure it is looking like this, like kind of like structured, because if depending on your terminal, there's some terminals you would use when you say find, it just gives you everything without, properly formatting it. So find pretty is just to make sure it's well formatted, nothing serious. So we can do find, and then we put in the key, just like I mentioned. So now we're able to find by name, and we're looking for the record that is called, that has the name of John Doe. And now you can see it gives us just that record. Okay. We will come back here and we'll say we want to search for the record with John Smith. If I don't put that complete, you see it doesn't give us anything. It can't find that, right? If I say John Smith, was it John Smith I saw there? I think I made a mistake, right? Jane Smith. Okay, yeah. That's Jane Smith. Okay. So it gives us the record with Jane Smith. All right. And you can use any of those parameters, right? Not just the name. You can choose to use the email, right? If I say, let's find with email, I'm just going to copy this, okay, down to this point. Let's go ahead and drop this in here. So you see, it gives us the record with that particular email. All right. So yeah, we can find one. Find one is saying even if you have like multiple items or multiple records with sorry. So even if we have multiple records with the same name, we just want you to give us the first one that you see. So yeah, we just want you to give us the first one that you see. That's what find one will do for us. And then we have the option where you can also find with multiple conditions, right? Oh, find the records with age of 30 and name of John Doe, right? So this is the command for that. If we go ahead and run this, it gives us the record with age 30 and the name of John Doe, right? And yeah, we also have the option where we can find with or, so we can say find with the age of this or the name of this, right? So the way you write that command is you put in the or with the this sign, right? So what this is going to do is to basically check for multiple items. So we're searching for items with age of 25 or name of John Doe. So it gives us two records. We have one record that has name age of 25 and name John Doe, right? So this is also good. Like you can have multiple items here. You can even include the third one, include the fourth one, just like that, So yeah, we also have the comparison operators here, where you can say, oh, find a particular item with age that is greater than 25, right? Find an item with age that is, greater than or equal to 25, which is GTE. We have find with age that is less than 30, less than or equal to 30, right? Um, I should expand this. Yeah, so you see the whole thing. So we can say find what is it? Yeah, so find age that is within within the array, within the range of 25, 30, or 35, right? Not really range, that has this specific item, right? It's in this array. If the person's age is 25, 30, or 35, give us the record. Okay, and then we can also use the not in array, right? So if the person age is not in 25 or 30, give us that record. Okay, and we also have find, or you can find checking if this field exists. So we can say, check our records, give us a record that has an email, right? If there's an email field, if this email field exists, which is true, if it's true, give us that record. If it's false, give us the record that doesn't carry this, right? So yeah, um, this is how to basically do find. There are so many options here. You can also find what we call regex. I don't know if most of you know regex, but I think there's a video we have on YouTube that taught regex. I think one of my cohorts, like, I don't know, 2 years ago or so. You can check. Just open the YouTube, the Top Universe YouTube channel, go on that video search and just type regex. Okay, so we have db.users.find. Then you can use regex. You can search for a record that has the name that starts with John, right? That is what this means, something that starts with John. This is saying give us something that ends with Doe, and it is not really case sensitive with this, with this format, this regex format here. And yeah, we have others. So this is a projection when you are selecting specific fields. So find all the records, so this would find all the records, but include only the name and email, right? Include only the name and email. ID will be there by default. It will give us just the name and email. If I run this, let's go ahead and copy the, okay, I think I just copied the whole thing. Yeah. So if I go ahead and copy this, you see it gives us the record to just name and email. Remember, we had more than name and email. We had address and hobbies, right? But it gives us only name and email. So this is how you perform find, and you include, you choose what to include, or you choose what not to include, right? So you can do that with this format. Yeah, with this format you can exclude, right? So you can use this to exclude. So this is excluding the ID, right? So if you say one is like true, right? Or should I include email? Yes. Should I include name? Should I exclude ID because it has zero? Zero is like false. One is like true. So when you see one, it's true. When you see zero, it's false. Okay. db.users.find. This is going to basically exclude the age. It's going to give us every other thing, but it's going to exclude the age because the age shows as zero. So that's exactly what is going to happen. So if we search for this now, if we run this, let's do that again. Yeah, so if we do this now, it's excluding the age from this record. So let's see, let's come back here. We said dot find. Okay, all right. So we can use this to also exclude and specifically select what to include. Let's go ahead and try this. If I run this, am I running it well? I think I'm running it twice, right? So let's cancel. Did I copy that twice? Let's make sure we're not copying this twice. Copy, go into Mongosh, and we have to first use the DB. So I'll say use books DB, and then I can search. Okay, yeah. So now we have the name and the email. We excluded, every other thing. We excluded this. Okay, so we are including just this. We're excluding this. If I should run this, let's see. Okay, right. So if I should run this, you see, it gives us like, the record. So we have one record that has more information. So it gives us, all that information, but it doesn't give us the ID of any of the records. You see, there's no ID whatsoever. Yeah, yeah. So that's how this is expected to work. When it comes to sorting, these are some of the sort actions in the class we have on the academy. We didn't really mention every single thing here, right? We just mentioned a few of them. The basic ones, CRUD. Now we are basically showing everything here, including sorting, including performing limits. Limit action is when you can say, oh, I have a lot of records, find all, but give me the top 5, right? Or find all and give me the top 50, okay, the top 10. All right, so that's how you use limits. Limits is like telling you, give me this amount of record, okay? Skip is basically used to skip some records, of course, just like it sounds, right? You're skipping some documents. So I can say, oh, give me everything, but maybe skip the first 2, right? Or skip the first 10. If you're doing pagination, that's where you use things like this, where you are saying, okay, on page 1, give me from number 1 to 10, right? So limit to 10. On page 2, I would say limit to 10 as well, but skip the first 10. I would say dot skip the first 10 on top, give me the next 10, right? I can say skip the first 20, give me the next 10, which is page 3, stuff like that. Okay, so this is how you perform, combining operations, where you can say, oh, find, records that the age is greater than 25, sort this, by age, which is true, sort by age, so you have that, ascending, then skip the first 5, give me the next, 10 records with the limits, right? So this is how you basically combine these, the sorting and the sorting, the limits. Should I say limiting? But I'll just say limits, and then the skipping option as well, or the skipping method. All right, so this is how you count documents. Just to get the total documents you have. You can say count documents that age is greater than 25. It gives you the count. Remember, it gives you the counts. And I mean counts like actual integer value. We have 4 records in our system that the age is greater than 25, right? If we say give us the ones that the age is maybe greater than 70, I don't think we have any record that has age greater than 70, so it gives us 0. Now we have delete actions here. We have aggregation. I mean, I won't even touch on this yet, right? So we have update, we have delete. We know how to create, we know how to search. The next 2 we have here is update and delete. When it comes to deleting, you can delete one, you can delete many, or you can just delete everything. You can delete many with specific, filters, right? Delete all the records that has age less than 25. Okay. And when it comes to updating, updating, yeah, will be much longer, obviously. Well, you can update one, you can update multiple records with parameters as well. You can replace, you can replace, you can use this, update one, you put in the name and you set the specific, value that you want to update, right? So you can also remove the field completely by using onset, removing the value and the field. Yeah, so you have increment by 1. So this is update 1. You increment the age by 1, right? To just increment the value of age. You don't have to use the set. If you use the set, it means you want to, set it yourself, right? If the person's age is 10, you are taking it to 11. If you use set, you just have to replace by 11. But if you use an increment, it will go to the DB, it will look at the current value 10 and it will increment it by 1. So we have that. This is to multiply. You have MUL to multiply the value. So you can say multiply the age by 2, right? Yeah, so I think this is pretty much straightforward. I would just put this together in a PDF or maybe in a link like Notion or something, and I will share with us. Okay. So yeah, these are the actions we have here, and of course we still have like a little bit of others, especially the aggregation. We can also create index. Index is used for searching. If you create like a user record, most likely you want to search by email or by age or by phone number. I mean, possibly phone number is fast to search, email is fast to search. If you search by just age, you might have like a large number of records, because your age falls into that range of the others as well. So email is unique, phone number is unique. So most times when it comes to search, the email will be used, or the ID, if the ID is simple to remember anyways. I'm going to stop here for now. This is already, I believe, 10 minutes past 9. Sorry for the delay. We started late, and yeah, let's just end here for now. I'll see you guys in the next session. We would implement something in Python using PyMongo, right? Watch the video in the academy before the class tomorrow. And after that, if we have enough time, we'll dive into Postgres, or we'll wait till we meet again. But I'll prefer maybe just make like a video on that, because I think we're wasting too much time to jumping into actual use cases like implementing something, right? And if we take those videos early, then we don't have to do some of these things in the class here. So please go watch those videos before the next session. Thank you. Let's have a wonderful night, guys. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.